Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible systems of government you might have never heard of, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. Seriously, it's this amazing story of peace, balance, and a democratic structure that was up and running for centuries before the United States was even a thought. So let's just start with a big what if. What if the blueprint for a complex, consensus-driven government wasn't forged somewhere in ancient Greece, but right here in North America? Well, that's not a hypothetical. It's the real history of the Haudenosaunee, who you might also know as the Iroquois Confederacy or the Six Nations. And this quote from Seneca scholar John Mohawk really gets to the heart of it all. The entire system, its whole reason for being, was to use your mind, to use reason and negotiation instead of violence. It wasn't just built to govern, it was designed to actively create peace. So how did they do it? How did they pull this off? Well, it all starts with their constitution, the Great Law of Peace. The Great Law was brought to the nations a long, long time ago by a figure they call the peacemaker. And it's so much more than just a set of rules. Think of it as a living guide, a roadmap for how different nations can live together peacefully, find their strength in being united, and ultimately make decisions with one mind. The whole philosophy really boils down to three core principles. First, an absolute commitment to peace. Second, a deep need for equity and justice for everyone. And third, this incredible idea called the power of good minds. The belief that the real power comes when we all put our heads together. You can even see this philosophy in their symbolism. The Confederacy's emblem isn't some flag meant for conquest. It's a tree, the great white pine. Its roots are said to stretch out in all four directions, inviting anyone who believes in peace to follow those roots and find shelter under its branches. It's a symbol of inclusion, not division. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how did they actually put it into practice, day to day? To see that, we've got to look inside the engine of their government, the Grand Council. The Grand Council is made up of 50 chiefs, also known as sachems. Each and every chief represents a specific clan from one of the nations. This is truly one of the world's oldest representative democracies in action. But it's not just a big room with 50 people shouting. The structure itself is designed for careful, thoughtful debate. On one side of the council fire, you have the elder brothers. That's the Mohawks, Onondagas, and Senecas. And on the other side, you have the younger brothers, the Cayugas and Oneidas. This separation is totally intentional, and it's the secret to how they make decisions. And sitting right at the head are the Onondaga. They have a very special role. They are the fire keepers. They're the ones who open and close every council meeting, and they have the final say. They can either confirm a decision or they can say, hold on a minute, and raise objections if they feel a proposal goes against the Great Law. They're like the guardians of the entire process. Now this is where the Haudenosaunee system gets really fascinating, because it's not just about how the council is structured, it's about this profound, unique balance of power between men and women. The male leaders who sit on that Grand Council are the chiefs, or Hoyane. But get this, their title literally translates to caretakers of the peace. The name itself tells you everything. Their job isn't to rule over people, it's to serve the people and be accountable to them. And the qualifications to become a chief? Wow, the bar was incredibly high. You couldn't just be a good talker. You had to be a person of immense integrity, honest, someone who knew the Great Law inside and out, had a totally clean record, and had skin thick enough to take criticism without getting upset. The whole idea was, if a man can care for his own family, he can care for the nation. So, who holds these powerful men accountable? That is the job of the clan mothers, or Aya Koyane. This is a hereditary title passed down through the mother's side of the family. Their main job is the welfare of the entire clan, and this is crucial. They are the ones who choose the chiefs in the first place. All told, you have 49 clan mothers spread across the nations, and that number isn't just a statistic. It represents this parallel system of female leadership that is absolutely essential to keeping the whole government stable and honest. And here is the absolute kicker, the most important part of this balance. The women choose the male leaders. A clan mother looks at the men in her clan and selects the one she thinks is best qualified to be chief. But just as she has the power to put him in that position, she has the ultimate power to take him out of it. This is the ultimate check on power. If a chief starts acting selfishly or breaks the Great Law, the clan mother gives him a warning. If he doesn't change his ways, she performs a ceremony to remove his antlers, which are the symbol of his authority. And just like that, he's a chief no longer. It's an absolutely incredible system of accountability. Okay, so we have accountable chiefs and powerful clan mothers. How do they actually work together to get anything done? Well, that brings us to their path to consensus. First, you have to understand the goal here, which is probably different from what you're used to. In the Grand Council, it's not about one side winning a vote. The goal is for everybody to talk and debate until they can all agree on a path forward, to literally think with one mind for the good of all the people. And the process for getting there is so methodical. An issue is first discussed by the elder brothers. Once they've come to an agreement among themselves, their decision is thrown across the fire to the younger brothers. They discuss it, and this goes back and forth until both sides see eye to eye. Only then is the unified decision passed to the Onondaga firekeepers for that final check to make sure it aligns with the Great Law. This intricate, balanced system of peace has lasted for centuries. It's incredible. And as we're about to see, its influence stretches way beyond the Haudenosaunee nations themselves. Which brings us to a huge historical question. Is it possible that this long-running confederacy, with its focus on representation and checks and balances, actually influenced the founders of the United States? Well, a lot of historians think so, and the evidence is pretty compelling. I mean, you have Benjamin Franklin himself pointing right at the Haudenosaunee as an example. He saw how strong their union was and basically asked, hey, if they can do this, why can't we? It shows you that this idea, this successful confederacy, was definitely on their minds. And that leads us to maybe the most powerful idea of all. A core principle for Haudenosaunee leaders is that every single decision they make must be weighed against its impact on the seventh generation into the future. It just leaves us with this question, right? How would our world be different, our environment, our economy, our communities, if our leaders had to operate with that same deep, long-term sense of responsibility? It's something to think about.